Welcome to the final video in the Rock, Paper, Scissors series, and congratulations on making it this far. Alright, as you know, by now on the screen is the finished product. We are just moments away from getting that on our computer or on our program. So would you open up your code.org account and go to your project, and this is where we last left off. We actually did or defined the function random computer or rand computer without parameters, and that was line 22 to 32, and that allows us to run that function or call that function on line 9. So once we hit line 9, it will go looking down below and read the entire recipe, if you will. Now, the issue that's left is we have addressed what happens when the user clicks on, and let me just run this. When the user clicks on the rock icon, everything works fine. We now have to actually account for paper and scissors. So this should be a very simple cut and paste. We do not want to reinvent the on-event listener for the paper icon and the scissors icon. And what I've found is it's easier, I think, to go to text mode rather than block mode to make these cut and pastes. So if you take a look up here, two very powerful buttons underneath Create is the version history and show text. Version history for my students is just like GitHub, where every step of the way when you did any work, you can go back and view that work all the way down to the beginning. Or you could start over, you could restore, or you could simply view. Now, this is very powerful from just an academic standpoint, because you want ultimately the last version to be your best and the final, and you could go back and look at how you progress through these things. And that's a great way to prepare or kind of look back on when you're doing your own projects. Now, that's version history. If you go to its right, there's a show text button. Let's click on that right now. And now the actual JavaScript text comes up. And what I want to do now, this is a little harder to read than blocks. So I want to get some spacing in between. Take a look on line 1. We have a comment, declare the variables. If I move my cursor to the very end of line 5, let me hit enter. And that kind of gives a space in between the sections for global variable declarations. The JavaScript engine is not going to look at or read spaces in a line of code. It will just continue going forward. But it's much easier to kind of identify what is what if we add those spaces. So I now want to do the same thing. I want to start from line 7. Notice the comment is rock icon event listener. Let's go down to the end of that, which is line 21, and notice you have the open curly brackets and then closed parentheses and finally a semicolon. So what is happening here is the closed parentheses is for the on event, open parentheses right after the word on event. The curly brackets are for everything after the keyword function. And that wraps up the on event. So at that point, let's hit enter. And now we have a space in between the actual definition of rand computer function too. I'm going to actually add one more space here as well. Okay, so at this point, what we really want to capture is the on event. So I want to grab or highlight everything from line 7 down to line 21. So let me just make sure I do that appropriately right there and hit Control C or capture that in your clipboard, however you do that. I want to now hit enter twice and paste. enter twice again, and paste. So now we've got spacing for global variables. We've got 3 on event listeners, and finally the definition of the rand computer function. So I'm going to come back up to that line 53 and just delete one line there. Okay, at this point, I'm going to go back to show blocks. And now we'll have a visual a little better to see here, but you can see the spacing now on line 6. So it actually separates the pieces of the program nicely for our view and our understanding and our ability to go in and change things. So right now, we want to go in and actually change things. Let's scroll down to line 24, the rock icon. We want this to be paper icon. And now let's think about what we have to change here. User choice now, if the user clicks on the paper icon, then we are not getting index 0 in our list. We actually want index 1 from line 5. So let's scroll down here and let's choose or change the 0 to a 1. I kind of got a little ahead of myself here. Let me go back to line 23 just so I could keep an eye on what is what here. I want to change the comment to paper icon event listener. So now we know this is the paper one. Up above should be rock. And okay, we're set. Okay, so user choice now goes to icons at 1, which will be paper. Random computer still stays the same. Rand computer function will not change. Here's what we need to change a little bit. If computer choice equals rock, and we have selected paper, we're not going to get a match here. But we have a choice. I could either change all of this, or I could just, which is line 28, 29, or I could just adjust rock to, hold on a second. When am I going to get that tie? It's a match and it's ties only when computer choice is equal to paper. So let's take the easy route and just change the variable, the Boolean comparison of equality on line 27. So if computer choice equals paper, now we're going to get the compare output to be it's a match, and you tie. Okay. Now we have a little bit of changing to do here. Remember, if computer choice equals scissors, let's change this to rock. So how will we win if we have paper? Well, paper, whoops, my apologies, no. We want rock here. And we could change the compare output to paper covers rock. So that addresses if, again, within this event listener, the user selected paper icon. So everything now is comparing against paper. If computer choice equals paper, that's a match, so we're okay with lines 28 and 29. If the computer chooses rock, then paper covers rock and we win. And finally, let's go down to the last one. This means computer must have chosen scissors, so we want scissors beats paper here. Okay, let's see if you have that as I do. So we have the final one by default is scissors beats paper, and we have try again. So I kept the results output the same. We only had to change the comparison output in 2 circumstances. So we tried to change the least amount within the copied block of code. Okay, so at this point, we have, I think, everything for the paper icon. So at this point, what I'd like you to do is let's take about 5 minutes, and I want you now to go down below to the last one. Let's change our comment first together here. We want to take rock out, and this is going to be for the scissors icon. And would you change the appropriate items within lines 41 to 52 to adjust so that the scissors on event runs appropriately? Let's take about 3 to 5 minutes, and then we'll come back together. Okay, welcome back. Let's check to see how we did here. We are at line 39, so we changed our comment. So this is the scissors icon event listener. So we need to change the on event drop down, or the ID, to the scissors icon. We're still maintaining a click. The user choice now should get icons at list index 2. So if we go back to the icons list, let's check to see index 2. Rock is 0, paper is 1, scissors is 2, so that's a match. Random computer function is going to run independently, and it will hoist up lines 55 down below. But then in the if statement, if computer choice equals scissors and the user choice is scissors, we have a match and you tie. If user choice is scissors and computer choice is paper, scissors beats paper, so you win. If the user chooses scissors, but by default now the only remaining computer choice is rock, then rock beats scissors and you try again. Okay, it looks like we've got everything. So now here is the function down below. So we've got the 3 on events in between, and we've got our global variable declarations at top. It looks like we are done. Let's give this a little bit of a test run here. All right, I'm going to hit reset and run, and let's click scissors. Notice now, computer chose paper, scissors beats paper, we have a win. Let's choose paper. Computer chooses scissors, scissors beats paper, we lose. And rock should be all set, so paper covers rock, try again. So it looks like everything is working the way we want. You'll want to test that out a little bit more to see if you could get all of the possible random combinations. But at this point, it is now time to share this project. So if we come on up to the share button right next to the name, we have rename and we have share. Let's click on that. And I'd like you to do both of these here. We have a copy link to the project or a send to phone. Let's take a look at send to phone right now. If I click on that, take out your cell phones now, type in your phone number here and send it to your phone. And that application now should now be sent in, I think, a text message format where you can open it up and play the application on your phone. So that's number 1. Number 2, if we go to copy link, the link to this now, if we go to an open browser tab and I paste that link, now the application without the code should come up, and we could still make it my own, send it to the phone, or view code here as well. But this is automatically in the run mode, and I could click and make my selections. So at this point, let's head back to our App Labs environment. At this point, we have completed the project. And we have the ability to share this, both phone and URL. So that, remember this, you will be doing that when you do your own project. But at this point, congratulations. You have started from scratch, completely designed an entire user interface, identified the elements and their styles, and assigned an ID to each of those elements. And then using those IDs, we actually attributed JavaScript programming logic behind it so that the user can dynamically see things happen on the screen. Awesome job, everyone. Happy to have you along. Good luck on your projects coming up next. We will see you in the next series.